This video is brought to you by AG1. More about them later in the video. Maybe it's just me, but it seems kind of difficult to pin down what a drama is. Like if you look at 2024, for example, there are plenty of great dramas, but they're kind of mixed in with other genres. You got sci-fi drama, musical drama, even horny drama. But when any of these other genres are stripped away, you're left with something less flashy and more personal. An architect forging his legacy after World War II, two cousins reconnecting on a road trip, a whirlwind romance threatening to be torn apart. When these films succeed, it's like a litmus test for how just compelling it can be to simply experience a story about interpersonal relationships and the human condition. Inevitably, some great dramas get lost in all the noise. So I'd love to share with you guys 5 of my favorite indie dramas from the past decade or so that more or less haven't gotten a lot of attention for a number of reasons. Every one of these films has at least a whopping 94% or more on Rotten Tomatoes, and in my opinion are true gems that deserve more of a spotlight. And if you guys know of any dramas not on this list that you feel are just criminally underrated, please leave them in the comments below. Speaking of things that deserve more of a spotlight, my intake of daily nutrients. That's why I'm excited to talk about this video's sponsor, AG1, a daily drinkable scoop of 75 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients in one. Something I really tend to put on the back burner in my own life is just making sure I'm getting the right vitamins, nutrients, all that stuff. I have 2 kids, so sometimes I'm too busy to stop and think about it. So it's super convenient to just have this one drink I can shake up in the morning and not worry about it. And after drinking it every morning for a few weeks, I'm already starting to notice a boost in energy. Like I don't need as much coffee. I've actually gone a few days without coffee, which is very unusual for me. I just feel energized and I'm not crashing out towards the middle of the day. And it tastes good, right? I've had juiced vegetables before and it's an acquired taste, but AG1 has this subtle blend of pineapple and vanilla. It's really good. AG1 nutrients also support gut health, healthy mood, and immunity. Use the link in the description or scan the QR code to subscribe and save $20 off your first subscription of AG1. Every new customer using my link gets this cool welcome kit and $76 of free extras. Again, click the link in the description to save $20 off the first subscription of AG1.
Me? I can never leave. Top someone in jail, they do not like it. But you? Just do what they want you to do. Play their f***ing game and then bounce.
I ain't going to no f***ing...
Yes, you f***ing are! Don't you ever f***ing answer back to me again, or you will do what you're f***ing told.
Father-son relationships can be complicated, especially when you're just starting a fairly long stint in prison and your father happens to be in the same wing serving life. So begins Starred Up, the story of Eric, an angry, immature 19-year-old with a violent past and virtually no control over his emotions. He seems to already know the ins and outs of being a right in prison. On day 1, after mistakenly attacking a prisoner, instead of just complying with the guards, he's already prepping for a fight. He's taking his shirt off, soaking himself up in baby oil so he's hard to grab onto, and he's dual-wielding 2 broken pieces of wood, man. He's like a feral animal.
Weapons down, stand against the back wall.
One potential saving grace from this self-imposed hell is Oliver, an empathetic volunteer therapist who convinces the staff that he can help rehabilitate Eric in a talk therapy group, which it's going to be a challenge. Meanwhile, Eric's father, Neville, he's just hovering around him constantly, trying to make sure he behaves himself.
As you've been told by the gentleman, you're making a monkey out.
Can you leave, please?
You'll get your snout back after. Problems, you got to come down on him full throttle, else it won't register. Now listen to what the gentleman has to say.
There is a lot going on in this relationship, and like any strained father-son dynamic, it's difficult for either of them to talk or listen to each other to dig down and process the real issues at hand. For Eric, years of resentment have put up this emotional wall that it just makes it near impossible for him to show any kind of vulnerability, although his time in the group begins to sink in a little bit.
You just order me about and tell me to do stuff. I don't give a f*** about how I feel.
For Neville, I mean, prison is his life now, right? He walks around like he owns the place, he has little deals with the guards, and he has this reputation to maintain that his son is threatening. But at the same time, even if he won't admit it to himself, there's a fair amount of regret and self-hatred.
Your son and I are on a journey together, and we will...
No, he needs to behave.
Okay, he's suffered enormous emotional trauma and abuse.
Oh, I never touched him.
Well, you weren't there.
I didn't. Okay, that's enough, all right?
Performances across the board are phenomenal. Jack O'Connell is just terrifying and unpredictable as Eric. And Ben Mendelsohn, Ben Mendelsohn, yeah. You ain't been talking to the cops now, have you, mate?
G'day there, boys. It's me, Ben Mendelsohn. Hey, mate. Need you to come help me build the Star Wars, mate.
He genuinely might be my favorite actor working today. He consistently makes me lean forward every time he pops up playing another icky lowlife, which he's great at, but when he has the chance to inject a little humanity into his antagonists, it's always cathartic, poignant, and truthful.
Come on, boy, answer me! Don't fucking leave me hanging like this! Just stop all the fucking around and answer me! I need to hear your fucking voice! Oh, fuck off! What they do to you?
And that's just one example of how Starred Up separates itself from your run-of-the-mill prison movie. There are certainly the usual external conflicts that prisoners deal with, and it has plenty to say about the psychological effects of long-term incarceration and how a prison staff can be easily corrupted. But the film wisely holds its main focus on a broken relationship, what caused it, and whether or not these characters have the tools at hand to set things right.
如果你要问我的想法的话，我可以明白地告诉你，过去是我们做父母的管教无方，未来我也不觉得我们管得动他。我希望你们把他送进去，好好管教。
As the opening credits of the 2019 Taiwanese drama A Sun began to roll, I was immediately put at ease by the gentle orchestral music that accompanied two characters riding a motorbike in the rain. Ah, what sweet tale shall I be regaled with this evening? The incongruity of a horrific assault with a machete and the tranquil score already suggests two things. One, this is perhaps a film that examines ugliness in a gentle way, and two, nothing's off the table. Except for the guy's hand, it's in a pot of soup. We come to learn the aftermath. Two troubled teenagers, Radish and Chun Jian-he, nicknamed Aha, are sentenced for their involvement in this attack. Radish was the main instigator, but Aha was also complicit and gets 3 years in a juvenile facility. He remains emotionally distant and difficult to read as he adjusts to his new threatening surroundings.
哑巴是不是啊？站起来，站起来。站好。
Aha's family is also left to deal with the fallout. His mother, Qin, still tries to see the best in him, even after a surprise visit from 15-year-old Xiao Yu and her visibly upset aunt, who's eager to talk to Aha after learning her niece is carrying his child.
现在怎么样？你这个做妈妈的，一句也不问，一句也不说吗？
Aha's father, One, is another story. He's a hard, uncompromising man, his face weathered with years of putting his nose to the grindstone as a driving instructor to support his family. Living by the credo, seize the day, decide the path. He has virtually no sympathy for Aha whatsoever, immediately disowning him.
教练，啊，你结婚没？
我结婚了。
啊，你有几个小孩？
一个，明年上医学院。
The other son One is referring to is Aha's gentle, introspective older brother, Hao. One has made it clear to Aha over the years that Hao is the better son, which is, that's just a chef's kiss, perfect, dysfunctional grenade that has fractured the family for years.
他很厉害，厉害到我越来越讨厌他。他们都说我很烂。很不好。
The film follows these characters over the course of years, and we see the ripple effects of all of these characters' decisions, good and bad. There's a lot to be said about how responsible an individual is for his or her actions, how different generations of a family deal with trauma, and the mental toll of the overbearing parent who can maybe push a little too hard. There's kind of a through line here of people telling each other, just deal with it. You have problems, handle them. Ironically, one needs to be told this at times. And just like that opening credit sequence, I continue to be surprised by the events that unfolded. A Son follows in the tradition of some of my favorite films that meander where they please, completely abandoning formulaic storytelling in favor of following the natural progression of the characters and their relationships. Not to mention, it's just a beautiful looking film with its use of color and light to convey mood and the overall themes of the story.
这个世界最公平的是太阳，不论纬度高低，每个地方一整年中，白天与黑暗的时间都各占一半，都可以找到一个有阴影的角落。可是我没有。
And it's not just a straight drama, too. I mean, there are moments where it just becomes a nail-biting thriller, but also some scenes that made me laugh out loud. Like when Aha and Xiao Yu decide to get married, one just clearly doesn't want to be there, and as they're waiting for the officiants to arrive, in a long, awkward beat, he decides, hey, this is a great time to check my blood pressure. It could even be read as passive-aggressive, like, oh, look, hey, son, you see what my systolic number is? Well, no big deal. Well, you're just going to kill me one day with all these horrible decisions you make. It's just a great, solid melodrama that got lost in the shuffle. Despite getting amazing reviews, it was bought by Netflix, dumped onto their platform, and got zero promotion from the streaming juggernaut. Anyway, it really is a gem of a movie, and for those of you who prefer films that break the mold in terms of genre and structure, A Son is worth watching.
要他把握时间，掌握方向。
你不要把驾训班那套什么把握时间、掌握方向当真好吗？
Right, look, every single one of you, that goes for all of you, right across the board. Sort your own fucking sections out, yeah?
Yes, Chef.
Yeah?
Yes, Chef.
All right, we're gonna get this back up to a fucking 5. Yeah?
Yes, Chef.
Okay, all right, where are we?
The runaway train of anxiety working in a restaurant is always a setting ripe with drama. The monumental success of The Bear is arguably why this seems like familiar territory, but Boiling Point predates it. It received rave reviews and 4 BAFTA nominations when it was released in January of 2022, but it seems like us Americans focused more on The Bear, which was released on Hulu just 5 months later. And so, as far as I can tell, not a lot of people outside the UK have seen this, and it's phenomenal.
Oh, no. Chef, you're right. It's all right, clean that up, please, so lad.
Boiling Point follows Andy, an overwhelmed head chef at an upscale restaurant, as he copes with multiple stressors on the busiest night of the year. The health inspector's not happy with what he sees, and Andy's behind on paperwork. Somebody didn't order the beef, so we need to push the fish tonight.
We need to push the veg, and we need to push the fish.
Sure.
And on, and on, and on. The dread piles up like back orders in a kitchen.
Okay. Do you realise that you were overbooked? No? And on top of that, she's asking us to go off menu. And you haven't put the allergies on the system, so we're having to refer to your scrawny handwritten f***ing note all night.
To accentuate the ongoing panic, Boiling Point is shot in one continuous take. Andy may be our protagonist, but the camera just floats around and latches onto other characters as they pass by, lingering, following, and giving us a full picture of the personalities and relationships of the entire staff. Everyone and everything is three-dimensional and authentic. Beth, the front-end manager, is all about social media, trying to get those Instagram likes or thumbs ups and whatever you kids do on that app nowadays.
So that's squished in.
Get squished in.
Andrea, Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Dean is the front-end supervisor that can effortlessly charm any table.
Lemon drop for you, pal, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a whiskey sour.
Whiskey sours?
Oh my god, wait. I'm sorry, what did you just say?
A whiskey sours.
No, what accent is that?
Glasgow. I'm sorry, ladies. A whiskey sour.
And sous chef Carly has clearly been taking on some of Andy's responsibilities, covering for him as best she can.
Well, you got the flat.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved in last night.
Good, that is good.
That's why I was all over the f***ing place.
Well, all right.
I made him swine.
Well, at least you won't be sleeping on the office floor anymore. Yeah?
Thanks for covering.
One of the more stressful moments of the film that I really appreciated was when dishwasher Jake strolls in 2 hours late.
Are you mad?
No.
You're 2 hours late. You're 2 hours late.
My landing off. The taxi cab
No, don't come with this shit. You are being 2 hours late and I have to leave you alone.
This is a guy who, despite being awful at his job, is just loved by mostly everybody. Like he's just coasted by in life on nothing but charisma.
But I love you.
I love you too.
Anyway, at one point when things are really bad, the camera chooses to follow Jake as he takes out the trash. Like a kid who asks to go to the bathroom at school, he just takes his time, has a smoke, buys some drugs, meanders back. Get back in there, they need you, it's a busy night. It's a scene that only lasts 3 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. I won't say too much else, but I will say as I was revisiting this movie to make this video, I was delighted to learn that a sequel miniseries was made consisting of 4 episodes. I haven't watched it yet, but my god, yes. Please, more chaos. Into my veins. Let's go. That was me tapping my arm, trying to find the best vein to shoot this into my body.
It's a f***ing serious place of work and f***ing chocolate sauce on the most important table. Calm down! No, I'm not gonna calm down. I've had enough. It's like being back at f***ing school.
You need to take a breath, love, please.
This, man.
And so goes the push-pull love-hate relationship we commonly have with stories that just stress us out. While The Bear offers some respite in its quieter episodes, Boiling Point doesn't let up. When I was finished watching, I was both relieved and disappointed that it was over.
Gorgeous.
That's lovely, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
He's got it, hasn't he?
That's delicious. Now you got talent, son.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's really nice, there. Yeah, there you going places. Yeah, but you're staying here right now, no,
I knew he was gonna go back in and have another.
Beautiful.
Dad, this wood is really good for feathering.
It's really nice work.
There is not one shred of dishonesty in Leave No Trace, a criminally underrated drama which, as far as I can tell, still remains the most reviewed film on Rotten Tomatoes to garner a 100% rating. Much like the 2 main characters, it meanders in the most beautiful way possible and is ultimately a celebration of yearning for connection with others.
I'm going away. I'm leaving today. I'm going, but I ain't coming back.
Will, a military vet suffering from PTSD, has been raising his daughter Tom in a forest park in Oregon. And the little money he does make from selling VA-issued medication to another homeless vet, they spend on the bare essentials.
Want or need?
Both.
One day, a jogger spots Tom, and the two are arrested and detained by social services.
We didn't need to be rescued.
Your dad needs to provide you shelter and a place to live.
He did. He does.
After going through the system, they're permitted to live on a farm in exchange for Will chipping in. But we begin to see how difficult the transition is for Will, and perhaps why he struggles to function in society in the first place. Certainly, the helicopters delivering the trees aren't helping things. Tom, on the other hand, begins to thrive. She's torn between the love for her father and a desire to connect with her new community.
What if the kids at school think I'm strange? Because of the way we're living?
How important are their judgments?
Guess I'll find out.
Nothing in Leave No Trace is heightened for obtuse dramatic effect, and despite plenty of opportunities, there's no cynicism here, like it's either way about their lifestyle or the world that they've been isolating from. And some of the best moments are these short, fleeting encounters that Tom has with different characters she meets along the way. To give you even more of an idea of how respectful and tender this story is, I just want to share this part. So there's this other scene where Will and Tom attend a typical modern church as a show of normalcy. A pastor solemnly announces a dance troupe that has come to praise God, and these women come out in these flowing costumes and they do an interpretive flag-waving dance. The film captures everything with an earnest eye. It almost feels like a documentary for a moment as the audience is treated to this nice snapshot of life where nothing is judged. As the pastor is thanking attendants on their walk out the door, Tom is happy to connect and spend time with one of the dancers learning how to wave the flags.
Hi, I'm Pastor Spencer. Are you new here? New. Oh, all right. It was great having you in this morning. We'd sure love to have you back. Thank you. All right, yeah.
Another interaction that Tom has with a warm-hearted beekeeper was another highlight.
So it means a lot to me that I have their trust. I've worked hard to get it.
After she learns to handle the bees and earn their trust, she passes on what she's learned to her father. She presents him with the same light that she was given, and despite his forlorn disposition, he smiles with pride.
So you don't need to be scared.
I won't give away anything else other than this. Leave No Trace is a patient, honest, well-acted, beautifully shot film that I thought I had a handle on when I started watching. Instead, I got lost and enjoyed every minute of it.
The same thing that's wrong with you isn't wrong with me.
I know. Tell me about your son.
What would you like to know?
Everything. I want to know everything.
Why?
Why do I want to know about your son? Because he killed mine.
One room, 4 people, an impossible conversation.
I'm going to leave you alone. Let me know if you need anything. Nice to meet you both.
You too.
Similar to other films like 12 Angry Men or My Dinner with Andre, Mass is a no-frills, dialogue-heavy drama that unfolds like an absolutely riveting stage play. Most of the film takes place in a church basement with 2 sets of parents who have both been affected by a horrible tragedy in different ways. Throughout the conversation, we come to learn that 6 years prior, there was a school shooting. Jay and Gail's son, Evan, was one of 10 victims. Richard and Linda's son, Hayden, was the shooter who took his own life immediately after. The 2 couples have agreed to meet and just hash things out.
What are we doing? You say you want to heal. We all do. Is this how?
Within the first 10 minutes, their personalities and dispositions become clear, and among them are characters that anybody could identify with. Jason Isaacs plays Jay, initially cool and collected, reminding himself out loud of his therapist's advice for this meeting, but the emotions that still fuel his life overflow, feelings that he's kept on a low boil through years of political activism involving gun rights.
That's the fallacy. That's their whole distraction, their defense. You know, don't look over here by guns, look over there by mental health. As if, it's not possible to address both. It's insulting.
Martha Plimpton plays his wife Gail, who's definitely more blunt and standoffish.
The photographs I have, the ones we don't want to look at.
I don't need to see them, okay? I don't need to see him.
Sure.
I want to know what changed.
Richard, played by Reed Birney, is a hard read, very clinical and defensive, choosing his words carefully and precisely, as if he's giving yet another interview or press conference about his troubled son.
None of us knew that Alex's family had guns or that Hayden had used them. We learned all of that after.
And Linda, played softly and beautifully by Ann Dowd, enters the room wearing her heart on her sleeve. Although this intense exposure of emotions is maybe a bit too heavy for some of the other characters who aren't quite ready to go there.
We believed we were good parents. And in some awful, confusing way, we still do.
It's fascinating to me how movies with such a stark minimalist setting can just, it forces you to focus attention on the more subtle things. I cannot get over the amount of detail in the performances, the subtle behaviors from each character, the brief glances of one spouse to another, as if to say, you shouldn't have said that, or you didn't say enough.
You should have said something.
What should we say? I'm asking you. No, I'm asking you. No.
I don't know.
What
Said
would
that
we
when
say?
it happened,
I'm
you
asking
weren't
you.
that-
What should we say?
That when it happened, that some part of you knew.
What should we say?
As the temperature rises, they let their emotions take over, and our sympathies and alliances wax and wane from moment to moment.
But it doesn't mean that we don't want to see you in pain. We want to see you punished. We want to see that you hurt.
Like everyone else.
Like everyone else.
Like you.
This is, bar none, one of the best dramas I've seen in a very long time. Honest, harrowing, and human. The subject matter may be all too familiar, but it doesn't preach or condescend. It's just a group of people coming together, talking about their feelings. It's people talking. And it's remarkable. Overall, I just thought these were a nice collection of dramas that kind of had a blend of everything, right? They've been knocking around in my head for years, and I've always been excited to share them with people who've never heard of them. Again, if you guys have any dramas that you felt flew under the radar, just leave a comment below. I really love these kind of interpersonal stories that, despite showing a situation you may not be accustomed to, it's just the emotions and relationships that we can all empathize with.